Have you ever felt a knot in your stomach when checking your credit card balance? Or perhaps you've lain awake at night, your mind racing with thoughts of unpaid bills and mounting interest rates. In a world where credit cards are as common as smartphones, have you ever wondered how your debt could be quietly affecting your mental health? It's a question that's becoming increasingly relevant as more Americans find themselves navigating a sea of financial obligations. But here's a twist that might surprise you. The people suffering the most from debt-related stress aren't who you'd expect. And what if I told you that your income level might predict your emotional response to debt more accurately than the amount you owe? The transformation of America from a nation of savers to a nation of borrowers has been swift and dramatic, with personal savings plummeting from 10% in the 1980s to less than 1% in the 2000s. But what's the real cost of this shift, beyond the numbers on our bank statements? And could the way we use credit be fundamentally altering our society in ways we haven't yet realized? A groundbreaking study has analyzed the complex relationship between debt and mental health, revealing some surprising findings that challenge our assumptions about who suffers most from financial stress. The research uncovers a fascinating paradox. While credit can be a lifeline in times of need, it also carries the potential to become an emotional anchor, dragging us down into the depths of anxiety and depression. Credit cards and loans can be incredibly useful tools. They allow us to bridge financial gaps, handle unexpected expenses, and even invest in our futures. For many Americans, especially those with lower incomes, access to credit has opened doors that were previously locked tight. Need to pay for an emergency car repair to get to work? A credit card can save the day. Want to pursue higher education but can't afford the upfront costs? Student loans make it possible. But there's a catch. Every swipe of that plastic rectangle comes with a promise to pay it back later. And it's that promise that can keep us up at night, tossing and turning as we wonder how we'll make good on our debts. The study found that debt is significantly linked to depression, increased stress, and reduced overall well-being. Some debt holders even reported feelings of shame and, in extreme cases, deep depression. This raises an important question. At what point does the convenience of credit turn into a psychological burden? And how can we strike a balance between using credit as a tool for advancement and avoiding the mental health pitfalls it can create? Here's where things get really interesting. You might think that those with the lowest incomes would suffer the most from debt-related stress. After all, they have the fewest resources to pay back what they owe, right? Surprisingly, the research paints a different picture. It turns out that it's the middle class who are feeling the squeeze most acutely. These are folks who often use credit to maintain a certain lifestyle, especially when faced with job loss or other financial setbacks. They're caught in a precarious position, not poor enough to qualify for certain types of assistance, but not wealthy enough to brush off their debts as a mere inconvenience. Why is this happening? One reason is that middle-class families are often stretched thin, trying to live in good neighborhoods with quality schools. Their budgets are dominated by fixed costs like mortgages and car payments, leaving little wiggle room when unexpected expenses pop up. And here's a sobering statistic. About half of middle-class American families have no savings or investments to fall back on, or are actually in the red. This financial tightrope walk can lead to a constant state of stress. Every unexpected bill becomes a potential crisis, and the dream of financial stability feels like it's always just out of reach. But what does this mean for the future of the middle class? Are we witnessing the slow erosion of a group that has long been considered the backbone of American society? At the top of the economic ladder, the wealthy experience debt very differently. For them, using a credit card is often just a matter of convenience, like using a debit card with a slight delay. They have the resources to pay off balances quickly, and aren't losing sleep over their debts. In fact, the wealthy often use debt strategically to their advantage, leveraging low-interest loans to invest in high-yield opportunities. The wealthy can view debt as a choice rather than a burden, which dramatically reduces the associated stress. Moreover, their financial cushion means that even if an investment doesn't pan out as expected, it's unlikely to jeopardize their overall financial stability. On the other end of the spectrum, the poorest Americans face a vastly different reality. While they struggle the most to repay debts, they often have limited access to credit in the first place. This means their debt loads might be lower, but when they do borrow, it's often out of dire necessity and with much higher interest rates and fees. Payday loans, pawn shops, and other high-cost lending options become the only available resources in times of crisis, creating a cycle of debt that can be nearly impossible to escape. The stress of choosing between paying off a debt and putting food on the table or keeping the lights on can be overwhelming. This chronic financial stress can lead to a host of physical and mental health issues, further entrenching the cycle of poverty. This disparity raises some troubling questions about equality and access to financial resources. Are we creating a two-tiered system where the wealthy can use credit to their advantage, while the poor are either shut out or exploited? The gap between how the rich and poor experience debt isn't just about money. It's about opportunity, security, and peace of mind. As this divide grows, it threatens to create two entirely different Americas, each with its own relationship to debt and its own set of financial realities. The study also looked at how the 2008 financial crisis affected people's relationship with debt. The Great Recession served as a stark reminder of how quickly economic fortunes can change. Suddenly, jobs that seemed secure vanished, and homes lost significant value. This economic upheaval made debt feel even riskier and more stressful for people across all income levels. In the aftermath of the recession, many Americans became more cautious about taking on debt. But surprisingly for some, debt became even more necessary as a means of staying afloat during tough times. This tension between caution and necessity has created a complex emotional relationship with credit that persists to this day. Interestingly, the study also uncovered a significant gender disparity in how debt affects mental health. Women, on average, reported higher levels of debt-related stress than men, even when accounting for income and debt levels. This finding opens up a whole new avenue of questions about gender, money, and mental health. Several factors might contribute to this gender gap in debt stress. Women often face greater pressure to manage household finances and make ends meet, which can increase their overall financial stress. Despite progress, women still earn less on average than men, which can make debt feel more burdensome. Some studies suggest that women, on average, have lower levels of financial literacy, which can lead to less confidence in managing debt. And women are more likely to experience career interruptions due to caregiving responsibilities, which can impact their long-term financial security and make debt more stressful. This gender disparity in debt stress has important implications. It suggests that financial education and support programs need to be tailored to address the specific concerns and challenges faced by women. Furthermore, this finding highlights the need for more research into how gender intersects with other factors like race, age, and socioeconomic status in shaping our relationship with debt. Understanding these nuances could be crucial in developing more effective and equitable financial policies and support systems. So what's the takeaway from all this? The relationship between debt and mental health is complex and varies significantly based on your economic standing, age, gender, and personal circumstances. But one thing is clear: carrying debt is more than just a financial burden. It's an emotional one too. Perhaps we need better financial education programs, especially for young people and women. Or maybe it's time to rethink how credit is offered and to whom. For individuals, the message is to be mindful of the emotional cost of debt, not just the financial one. If you're feeling overwhelmed by your debts, remember that you're not alone, and there are resources available to help. As we continue to navigate this new debt society, it's crucial that we consider not just the economic implications, but the psychological ones as well. After all, financial health and mental health are more closely linked than we might have realized. By understanding this connection, we can work towards a future where credit serves as a tool for empowerment rather than a source of stress and anxiety. This is Paul from My Personal Finances. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe.